5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I think you're going to enjoy this next interview and certainly the topic. And a lot of times, you don't really get an opportunity to meet an author that we speak to, and you will be in this case. Our next guest is Vincent J. Sachar. He's an attorney, a researcher, a speaker at author panels and book events at unique venues around the world, including a prison in Siberia. He's an advocate for helping and protecting the people of Africa, and the story takes you in part there, and it brought up some interesting thoughts, and I'll explain in a second what I mean by that. He is going to be at the Alachua County Library Book Talk at the headquarters branch of the Alachua County Library on, what date is it, Robin?
Monday, May 23rd.
Monday, May 23rd. Sorry, your microphone's off. Monday, May 23rd. Okay, from 7 to 8:30. So you'll be able to meet Mr. Sachar up there. The book is called Nowhere on Earth, and let me just explain what I meant when I mentioned Africa. A lot of times when there's problems in the world, we in the Western world, I don't want to just say it's America, but I think a lot of us in Europe, we focus on the Middle East, we focus on Eastern Asia, we focus on Russia. We don't pay a whole lot of attention. I'm not saying no attention, but we don't pay as much attention or the same amount of attention to what's going on in Africa, which is interesting. I don't know if it's good or bad that we don't. Mm-hmm. In other words, should we be paying as much attention to the other places? But when people are starving and people are at war, people are kidnapping little girls, the Boko Haram thing, which we are paying attention to that one, so that might be an exception. Nowhere on Earth is a thriller novel, and I wanted to say this. Typically, when we have a novelist on, we don't do a long interview. But when I saw Vincent's bio, I said to the publicist, Javier, the publicist, I said, gosh, this sounds like it would be a good long interview because we can talk about more than just the book.
Yes.
I believe this is his first novel, by the way. Vincent J. Sachar, good morning, sir. I hope I'm saying your name right. Good morning.
Yes, you are. Good morning, Larry. And just as a corrective thing, it's my third novel.
Your third novel. Okay.
It is.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know where I saw first.
No problem at all.
You know what you did on your webpage? Unless I went to the wrong webpage. I went to the right one. You made your picture impossible to download, which is good. I can't steal your picture.
Yeah, nobody can pretend to be you.
Well, I was going to use it in the video we got here, because right now if people are looking at the streaming, they see me and Robin, and I wanted to put your picture up there, but I couldn't get it, so I apologize to the viewers who watch the video who normally like to see who we're talking to. But anyway, thank you for being on. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm actually in South Florida, in Broward County.
Oh, okay. So you're a Floridian. And you're coming up to Gainesville, when, next Monday?
That's correct, yes, I am. I just came out of a book tour in Virginia, and I was in North Carolina, and I have a number of scheduled events throughout the state of Florida, and Gainesville being one of them.
So let's talk about what I mentioned earlier, and then let's get into the story. The story sounds really intriguing. Scary, actually.
Yeah.
Scary, intriguing. And you know what else I like about the way you write? Dialect. When writers write in a dialect, sometimes I have a hard time reading it. But I could read yours. I got it. I got the dialect. Mm-hmm. I bet your spell checker was going crazy, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So did you work with an editor who had to say, are you sure this is the way?
Always. And interestingly, the person who does the first read of everything I write is my wife, Gwen.
Oh, okay.
And believe me, you can't get a better critic than that. She has come back and said, I don't know what you're talking about here. So.
Well, that's the way Mark Twain wrote, too, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was stunned when I saw that his wife, Livy, did the same thing, because my author website is based on his quote, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. and I consider what I'm doing kind of a why born, something I always wanted to do all my life, something I kept alive concurrent with my career, my profession as an attorney, and always touched upon it, always was writing something, never did anything with it until now. And then one day I reached over and just took it and said, this is something I've always wanted to do, and I love doing it.
We've heard the expression that history is written by the winners, by the victor, right? History is written by the victor, right? We also know that in today's world of marketing, everything is slanted. And if you see a study that says, and I'm not picking on milk, but I'm just going to use that one as an example. If you see a study that says milk is good for you, chances are the study was paid for by the milk people, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so the reason I'm saying that is because I often wonder why so much turmoil that is happening in Africa gets hardly reported. The answer must be they just don't have any good PR people. They don't have any. The press aren't releasing news releases as much as they are out of Jerusalem or out of Korea. Am I right?
Yeah, and the question of, is there something of value that when you talk
that
about
too.
the Middle East, you talk about petroleum, you talk about oil.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're also worried about being bombed, and that's why Korea is is on the news. Yeah. So in other words, there's no money, and there's no real threat out of Africa, so we don't worry about it.
Sadly, yes.
Sadly, yes, absolutely. Except for we do pay attention to the Boko Haram guys, which is good. I'm glad we're paying attention to them because I mean, anytime there's a group of people that just I don't know, like ISIS and Boko Haram, how do they figure? But anyway. So let's. I know the listeners know you've written a novel, so let's talk about the book. Otherwise, we're not doing our job. Tell us the story. Kent Taylor is the. He's not the protagonist, is he? What do you call him?
He is the protagonist. In fact, he is the hub of all three of my novels. I have a trilogy. The first one is The Nowhere Man. The second one is Nowhere Out, and this third one is Nowhere on Earth. And they all center upon Kent Taylor. And although the stories themselves are adventurous and suspense thrillers and unique to that book, yet there's a ongoing sub-story that relates to this man. And that's really what inspired me to begin with. I created a character who in book one is stripped of everything he values, everything he loves in life. He's betrayed. He strikes back. He avenges, if you will, the murder of his loved ones, his wife, his young son, his in-laws, who were killed to shut them up, to silence them, because the wife had inadvertently tapped upon a government conspiracy. And in book two, years later, there begins to be a sense of redemption, recovery for this man. And in book three, I extend that even more. So there's like a sub-story going between the three books. They're all unique. They all have their own plot, but they do center upon this man.
Okay.
But you have a very thought-provoking statement that murder for revenge is truly justified, or does it serve justice?
Yes, exactly. I think there's two things to remember. One is revenge is an act of passion. It's driven by desire, if you will, a bit more selfish. Vengeance is an act of justice, and it's driven by duty. In Kent Taylor, we have a decorated Navy SEAL, so you would think duty. When he can't find anyone to turn to, and he begins to unravel what's happened to his family and why, he takes it upon himself to avenge their deaths. And yet, through all three books, he never justifies that. He never gloats about it. It's just something he almost felt he had to do if he was going to preserve any integrity of their lives.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us would be that way, considering what he went through. I mean, that's an easy thing to relate to. Not that it would be easy to pull it off,
right?
But it's easy to feel those emotions.
Exactly. So we never say it's justifiable, but we certainly do indicate it's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So in your work as an attorney, did any of that feed into what you're now doing as a novelist?
No, not really. In fact, it's quite the opposite, because as an attorney, and I was primarily corporate in-house, although I retired last year as a managing director of a global consulting company. But my work then, anything I did, anything I wrote, for example, was strictures, was stiff, was
I got you.
bound.
Yeah.
And here I could break the chains and be free. So I would say the only difference is, as an attorney, I was comfortable with language, research, things of that nature. But the type of writing would be totally different. We couldn't use the emotions. We couldn't touch the heart when we were dealing with legalism. And here I can, and that's something totally different.
The book, again, is called Nowhere on Earth. It is a thriller novel. Vincent J. Sachar will continue to be with us after the break. I invited him through his publicist, Javier Perez, who does a wonderful job finding great guests like Vincent. I wanted him to be on longer because he's got an interesting backstory as well. But the book is, of course, what we want to focus on. Also, the fact that he's going to be up in the Alachua County Library, the headquarters building, which is on 401 East University Avenue, not too far from the school, actually, up in Gainesville. So we'll take a little break, and that'll be Monday from 7 till 8:30. I like the fact that you're doing a book signing at a library, by the way.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I like it. It's a better environment than a bookstore.
It is. I do, too.
All right, we'll take a break and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. More clouds and sun and very humid on this Wednesday with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, especially during the afternoon and evening hours with a high of 82 to 86. Partly cloudy later Wednesday night, lows 69 to 73. For Thursday, clouds and sunny breaks with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, especially during the afternoon hours. A high tomorrow between 86 and 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Just a 1-degree increase in body temperature can make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. To make yourself twice as happy today or tomorrow or the next day, it's very simple. Do 5 good deeds all in one single day. Get on LinkedIn. It turns out 89% of companies have used it to find new hires. And post a professional-looking photo.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Palm Garden wants to get to the heart of the matter. If you've been in the hospital as a cardiac patient, maybe you have a pacemaker or congestive heart failure or an arrhythmia, or perhaps you're a heart bypass patient, then consider Palm Garden as your rehab choice. With proven outcomes second to none, Palm Garden fixes broken hearts. Call today at 854-6262. That's 854-6262.
At Ameris Bank, we understand that there is no purchase more exciting than the purchase of a new home. We are dedicated to helping you find the mortgage that meets your needs and giving you the personal attention you deserve. Our mortgage options offer a variety of benefits, including up to 100% financing, down payment assistance, and expansive credit qualifications, all with the competitive rates and exceptional service. Call Ameris Bank today or visit amerisbank.com to learn more. We look forward to serving you.
Ameris Bank is an equal housing lender and member of FDIC, a loan subject to credit approval.
Yeah, I'm that drip coming down from the corner of the room. But where did I come from? I'll never tell.
Bone Dry Roofing can and will fix it right the first time using quality materials and will deal honestly and fairly with you, period. You can find Bone Dry Roofing on their website, bonedryroofingllc.com, and Facebook at Bone Dry Roofing LLC. Do it right before your roof needs a tarp to keep the elements out. Bone Dry Roofing stands behind their work to help home safe and secure. Plus, they have financing available. Remember, if you're not bone dry, then you're all wet.
All right, 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Vincent Sachar is on the phone. Where are you, Vincent, right now? Where are you calling from? Did I ask you this?
Yeah, you did. I'm calling from Miramar, Florida.
From Miramar, that's right. Mm-hmm. But your bio says you're originally from Yonkers?
That's correct. I was born in New York, and I went to undergrad in Louisiana, where I met my wife.
Is that right?
Yes.
There's got to be an interesting story there. And you went to high school in the Bronx. My mom also grew up in the Bronx. I was born when they lived there, but I don't remember the Bronx.
Right. 12 blocks from Yankee Stadium.
Is that right? Wow.
Nice. You have a very beautiful cover. You give the credit for the cover design to Jonathan Sachar. Is he your son?
He is our youngest. He is our son. And that picture was taken from a plane when he was coming into Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, my gosh.
And when he showed it to me, I thought, book cover. I'm going to give this to the graphic artist. I'm going to come up with the concept that is the consistent theme with the first two books. It's that bridge, that boardwalk, if you will, with a little glow of yellow sunshine or something at the tip. And that's where it came from.
Well, that is interesting. And here's another interesting thing. I can't get a picture of you because you've, as a lawyer, you've protected all your all your photographs. But I was able to. I did a Google search for you, and I got a picture of not the album cover, the book cover. So I now have that on our streaming video. So if you so your son can say, "Hey, I'm on the streaming video."
Yeah.
Wait, it's a different cover though. I have the Nowhere Man. Okay, I'm sorry, I have the wrong cover.
Okay.
I have the cover for the Nowhere Man, not Nowhere on Earth. Oh boy.
Well, they're all my books. Short trilogy. And it's funny because anything I have also written or am in the process of writing, I work off a theme. But in the Nowhere trilogy of books, I really worked off of a person. I came up with the concept of what if there's a man and you strip him of everything and this man is formidable, blah, 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 and I developed that whole concept and then used it consistently in 3 books.
So I can't ask you about the twists because that wouldn't be fair to the reader who wants to discover them on his or her own. But I want to ask you something as a writer. Do the twists come as an afterthought? Like, do you get several chapters later and go, "Oh, wait a minute, let me go back. I have a better way of twisting this," or does it somehow come to you while you're writing it?
It comes to me as I'm writing. I heard the initial statement when I first started writing, "Follow your protagonist," and I thought, "What the heck does that really mean?" But it's true. You have a theme, you have a general direction, you know where you're going with your story. But then as you get to certain junctures, certain parts of the story, you realize, I need a twist, I need a mole, I need something else, I need to add to this, I need more suspense, whatever it may be. And, when I finish a book, and this is going to sound kind of silly, but it's true, I'll say, gosh, where did that come from? I didn't even have that.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah, you can outline everything. I'm not a major outliner. I think I fight against the strictures of what I had to do in my legal career. But I know generally where I'm going. But I promise you, if I outline, and I think this is true for most authors, everything I was going to say, the book will not turn out that way anyway. You just go with it.
And you also have insight into the Navy SEAL aspect and the workings of the FBI because you have friends and you've done a lot of research.
Research, yeah, and research is the thing you've got to do. Here's how I approach it. When you're writing fiction, your primary thrust or purpose is entertainment. But secondarily, if you can inform, if you can educate, that's a plus. Obviously, for nonfiction books, it's the reverse. You inform, but if you can entertain, then that's a plus. So I try to entertain, but at the same time educate and inform. So I'll do my research, and I'm learning as I'm doing so. I learn so much more about the Democratic Republic of Congo, about the millions of people that have died, about coltan as a mineral, about this or that, diamonds or whatever it may be. And the same is true with the FBI and Navy SEALs. You just continue to research and glean, talk to some people when you can, and hope that what you're doing is saying to the reader, I'm going to entertain you, but I'm also going to inform you.
That is interesting. Again, the book is called Nowhere on Earth, and it does cover a lot of different things that I wanted the listeners to know that. As far as I guess the political commentary that it sort of makes from the sidelines, I wondered something. As a novelist, especially this is the third in the trilogy, you have entered the world of showbiz, even if it's on the outskirts. I think movies are conceived in the mind of an author, which almost is too obvious. You don't even need to say it. But a lot of people seem to forget that what you look at on the screen, all started out with somebody who had an idea behind a typewriter or a word processor.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and when a movie or anything seems to carry with it social commentary, which I don't know if you wanted that, but this book does that. So how does that feel for you? Because the third novel, you must have a following by now.
Yeah, and by the way, when you speak of movies, I constantly get comments that these 3 books sound like a movie, and I think that's because when I write, I see what I write. I picture what I write. I'm there as I'm writing it. And sometimes I actually picture a scene as if it were a movie.
Yeah.
But I think that, again, when it comes to social commentary and things, you're writing to entertain, but you can't help that there's a flow out of everything you're doing, and you let that go, and you put it there, for people to see and feel. I just came back from a tour, and we spoke to over 1,200 high school students in 3 separate high schools in Virginia and North Carolina. Motivational speaking, not something I charge for. And I loved doing it, being able to spend time with students who are going to college, clapping out of their classes, etc. It's just something that we did. And in doing so, I wanted also students to see that an author doesn't just write and sell books. We impart ideas. We get people to stop and think and reflect upon. Our goal is to make you laugh, cry, ponder, question, all of those things.
Yeah.
But you also... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You.
But you also bring in the different cultures and that kind of aspect that your characters have to deal with, and it's also foreign to them.
Yes, exactly. But, whenever whenever Gwen and I have ever traveled, we always wanted to touch upon the pulse of other cultures. How do people think? How do they eat? How do they dress? How do they talk? That type of thing.
The one thing I would suggest, and you might disagree with this, is that when a movie maker decides to make a movie, don't let them use Nowhere Man by the Beatles.
I would.
No, it just doesn't. It's not the same thing.
It's not. It is not the same thing.
As much as I like the Beatles and I like John Lennon, I know that's his song. It just doesn't work. But I could imagine some filmmaker going, "Oh, I got a great idea for a song."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I'll remember that. Thank you.
At the credits of the movie, put "Nowhere Man" from the Beatles was not used. Thank you, Larry Whitler. So I wanted to let the listeners know they can meet you, and this is going to be fun. You will be up at the Alachua County Library headquarters building at 401 East University Avenue this coming Monday from 7 till 8:30, and you'll not only be signing books, but you're also doing a talk. How does that work? Do you have, are there seats set up, like an audience?
Generally, yes, and sometimes in the library setting, they will have prepared questions. They want to talk to an author not only about the book, but your process of writing. Where do you write? How do you write? Where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah.
What inspires you? Things like that. Because an audience likes to hear those things. And so, you'll do that and then have the meet and greet and book signing.
One of the most fascinating things, I think, is when an author says, and you've hinted at this, that it's as much of a mystery to you as it is to the reader, except that you get to see it first.
Yeah, exactly true. And that is a journey, and it's awesome. It's something I love to do and experience. But it is very true, and I'll finish a book and think, I didn't even have that character in my mind until I started writing.
Does your wife read it when it's done, or do you give it to her as you write it?
As I write it. Some lead time, and then she'll actually read at night so that it's ready for me in the morning. And I'm comfortable with English and language and punctuation and grammar, but you're still going to miss close.
Oops. Gosh, the time went too quick. I loved this interview. I told Robin we need a golden button like they have on Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
We push the golden button when we have a golden interview. Well, you get the button today, Vincent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Be careful driving up here. What a joy to get to know you. Definitely, you're welcome back on the station anytime, and we'd love to have you in the studio if that's ever possible.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Larry and Robin. Thank you for spending time with me and letting me be on your program.
You're welcome, and we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Bernie Sanders wins Oregon, while it appears his rival may have taken Kentucky.
Even though the state party says that Hillary Clinton unofficially won Kentucky by a nose, it's not the kind of win that would put Bernie Sanders in her rearview mirror. 46.8 to 46.3, less than half a percentage point separates the two candidates here. Clinton took to Twitter early in the night to declare that she had broken Sanders' winning streak.
Fox's Mike Tobin. Meanwhile, the presumptive GOP nominee sitting down in an exclusive interview with Fox's Megyn Kelly.
Donald Trump admits he has some regrets on the campaign trail.
Absolutely. I could have done certain things differently.
But says his brash style against political rivals is necessary.
Fox's Tom Graham. And one of the more than 200 girls snatched by Boko Haram, found by Nigerian soldiers. Her relatives say she's pregnant and suffering from trauma. Fox News, we report, you decide.
For me, it was the big S-Class.